Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Eric with American Business Systems, and I appreciate you joining me on this Wednesday, the first Wednesday of December 2025, folks. If you can imagine that. It is the last month of 2025, and I welcome you here, and we look forward to giving you some really great information here as we kind of wrap up the year here at American Business Systems. And hopefully, you're able to join us as we help others just like yourself get involved in a medical billing business opportunity. And today, we're going to be talking about why the ABS training program is better than any others. So you hopefully you'll be able to come with some questions, sit back ready to listen to me, and just sharing the experience as I go through some information with you. Now, I'm going to first of all begin with just a little bit of information about who we are, who I am, and how I play some roles here at American Business Systems. And I look forward again to spending the next 45 minutes, maybe to the hour, on some information that hopefully you'll find very educational and helpful as you're looking to get started here with American Business Systems. I hope that you had a great Thanksgiving with your family, and hope you didn't eat too much. And if you did, you can maybe get a little exercise in before the next holiday arrives, and more eating. It seems like we've got planning the menus of all sorts of stuff happening between now and the end of the year. Gosh, and starting with the first of the year, literally within the less than 4 weeks away. So, all right, hey, enough of that. We're going to be talking today about why is the ABS training program better than any others. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Eric Auger. I'll be your host this afternoon. I'm the Director of Learning and Engagement here at American Business Systems. Been doing this project for several years now, and love being able to spend every Wednesday afternoon with you to kind of share with you some new topics, new information, kind of help coach you along as best I can. So first things first, if you've ever joined us on any of our other webinars, you know that I'm going to ask you just to tell me hello. Go find the Q&A box. Let me know where you're located as well. That's always helpful. I like to kind of make some call outs to those that are all throughout the United States. So tell me if you're on the East Coast, the West Coast, the Midwest. Even if you're here from Texas, I'd love to say hello to you. So if you don't mind, for those that are already logged on, I see a few folks here. I see Adam and Ian and Labrina. Hopefully I've said your name correctly. There's a Latanya that's joined us, a Tammy that's joined us. And for the rest of those, there's some more. I see some more other folks getting piled up here and joining in. If you don't mind, just typing in your location. You don't even have to type your name because it's going to let me know that. But I just want to make sure that I'm being heard. So if at least one person out there that I've called out by name already, okay, good. Michigan is here. Ian is from Michigan, so thank you. Appreciate that. Tammy's from North Carolina. Labrina is from Dallas, Texas. We got Adam from California. So, folks, this is so good. Thank you for sharing that, because it just gives me a little bit in comfort to know that I'm being heard, because obviously your microphones are all muted, and we want to make sure that you know where the Q&A box is. So I appreciate everybody popping in and joining in there. Latanya's from Indiana, so appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. And I'm sure there'll be some other folks that will join us. Some of you may have met or even talked to Adam Phillips. He is our CEO of the company. Adam does a lot as he's taken over the realms here. He took over as CEO about 5-6 years ago. For some of you may or may not know that Adam's father, Patrick Phillips, is the founder of the organization. And since then, Adam has taken over the reins of CEO, and he is also a contributor with an organization called the Billing and Coding Advantage magazine. There are several articles that he's written. He just wrote one not long ago. You can go find that out on Billing and Coding Advantage magazine. But I'll tell you, the easiest way to get any of Adam's articles is if you'll just get back with your sales rep. There's a couple of articles that you may want to ask for. One is an article that he wrote about a year ago, a little over a year ago. Will the advancement of AI take over medical billing? basically. You might want to get that article from your sales rep. There's some other ones that he's written. He wrote one just recently this year. There's another one that's coming out at the end of this year, beginning of next year. This is a bi-monthly magazine, so it's always good. But this goes out to all healthcare professionals in the medical billing world. He has also co-authored a book with Dr. Vicki Ragnar. Now, Dr. Ragnar is on the board of directors of an organization called MIRMA. You'll hear me talk about that in just a moment. But Dr. Ragnar and Adam Phillips co-wrote a book on 9 ways doctors let money slip through their fingers. That book is available on Amazon. It's also available for those that are listening today. If you'd like to get a copy of that book in PDF form, you can certainly, again, ask your sales rep for a copy of 9 ways doctors let money slip through their fingers. Again, tell them I sent you over there to ask for that copy of that PDF. Now, MIRMA is an organization that's called the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. It is this organization that Dr. Vicki Ragnar is the medical director of, and it is also this organization that once you've completed all of your training here with us here at American Business Systems, they're going to be the ones that are actually going to send you this certification. You'll be certified as a certified medical revenue manager. Now, you can see it's not a certified medical biller because you're more than just that. You are a professional. You are a CEO of your company that does medical revenue management. And I'm going to explain a little bit of that to you today, because what I'm going to share with you is a little bit of behind the scenes of what you're going to learn once you get through our training class here. Now, feel free, again, throughout the presentation today, if you got any particular questions, feel free to stop me, send me a Q&A in the Q&A box. But I've got today's webinar really kind of chalked with everything that you're going to learn through the medical billing business program here that we have here, and why we feel like this training program is really better than any others out there. Now, some people may be asking, do I need to go to coding school? You don't need to go to coding school. Do I need to go to a medical billing school to be able to do this? No, because let me help position you here. You're coming and looking at a business opportunity to own a business. You're not here to learn to become a medical biller per se, although that we're going to teach you that. We just don't want you to think that you're trading one job for another job, okay? We want, hopefully you're changing your job to a business ownership here. That at some point, as your business does grow, you're not going to be the only person that does billing. Billing does happen in the very beginning, but there's a lot of other things that happens in the whole aspect of getting your business up and going. The billing will take care of itself. I promise you that. I've been at this now for a little over 17 years. Since then, I've owned a couple of medical billing companies through American Business Systems. So I've been there, done that, as they would say, has the t-shirt, and then we can obviously get you up to where you need to go. But we actually did this as a part-time business with my wife and myself. We actually had some other businesses that we had going on, and we did this, loved it. My daughter's involved in it. So there's certainly a family aspect to this particular business. Now let's get down to some of the nitty-gritty. What are you going to learn about medical billing through the American Business Systems training program? Well, first of all, you're going to learn is what's known as the revenue cycle management circulation of things. This is how things work and evolve through everything that you're going to learn about medical billing. Now, one of the biggest things I want you to understand is that it goes beyond what you would think of as medical billing, okay? This is what's known as revenue cycle management. So when you're talking with professionals in the healthcare industry, I want you to be talking in the right vernacular, okay? I want to try to get what you need to be talking about right off the bat here with us. And that is, you need to know what RCM stands for, or revenue cycle management, because that's how the healthcare industry operates. They don't really necessarily always talk in the the vernacular or the terminologies of medical billing. Obviously, that's what happens in a doctor's office. But to really kick it up a level and to kind of help you understand what you're getting involved in, I want you to be thinking along in the terms of, again, revenue cycle management. Let's kind of go through those 5 cycles or five steps that actually complete this revenue cycle management. First of all, it's data collections, as you can see there. You've got to figure out a way that once the doctor has seen their patients, how do I get that information? How do I get that patient's information into my system? Now, you'll hear me talk throughout the presentation today of a practice management that's what's known in our world as iClaim, and the electronic medical record system is known as EMRX, okay? So the iClaim program can literally help you expedite getting and collecting patient registration. Now, you may have heard me say already how you get it. Well, how you get it is through still the doctor's office. There is always an office practice manager that formulates, and you'll work with that group there. You personally won't be collecting patient information or patient registration. That's still done by the doctor's staff there. You know, when you go to the doctor, you still got to give them your first and last name and usually your insurance card and a driver's license, and someone there is collecting that information, but they're putting it into some type of what's known as a practice management system. And that's why we prefer to use iClaim, but you don't have to limit yourself to that. If you're working with a potential doctor and they're not ready to make that transfer from their current system to an iClaim system, that's okay. We're going to show you how to do that as well. But then there's claims preparation. Now we're getting down to, once the doctor has seen the patient, you've got to get that information to put it into either their billing system or the iClaim billing system. And that's what claims preparation is all about. You're going to be taking and transferring that into what's called an electronic version of what's known as a CMS 1500 form. Now, that's a piece of technical information that you're going to need to learn. What is a CMS 1500 form? Well, a CMS 1500 is the form that has been formalized and unified in through the Center of Medicare and Medicaid Services as the form of which universally all insurance companies will use, including Medicare, Medicaid, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare. It doesn't matter what insurance that you're going to be billing for. It is that is the platform, that is the local form that everybody's going to be using, is the CMS 1500 form. So as you can see today, I'm teaching you a little bit about medical billing as we go through this. Now, once you collected patient information and you've done the claims preparation, now it's claims transmission. It's getting those codes. Now, this is usually the scary part for everybody. They're thinking about, oh my goodness, what about these codes? Now, I'm going to reserve a little bit of that to my next slide here as I get to it. But just understand there's nothing that you have to really have to go to school on about coding and coding edits and what these procedure codes versus diagnosis codes entries. You're going to just be taking what the doctor's given to their current billing person or organization that's doing that right now, because you'll see here in a moment that it's truly the doctor's responsibility to get you those codes. Thirdly, now this is really where an outsourced medical billing company really comes into play, because this is claims management. You might think claims processing is claims management, but this is where you basically earn the dollars. That's why this little section here is green here, because this is where really you come into play. It's really watching whether a claim gets through properly the first time. Does it get denied? Does it get denied at the clearinghouse level, at the insurance level? Was there something that was missing? And you can identify that, get that fixed, and then get that back to the doctor. This is where the doctors are losing anywhere from 15 to up to 30% of their money is a mishandling of claims management. This is why a doctor really needs to get the claims out of their office because there's too much for an individual to do there in that office to be a internal medical biller for that doctor. It's best and it's always more profitable when a doctor can get their billing outside of their office and let a claims management company, as you can see here, Certified Revenue Medical Management. That's why you're a CMRM. To really manage claims, okay, and making sure that those postings get done. And then AR follow-up. Now that the claim has been paid, now it's really collecting and making sure that your accounts receivables all match up, because whenever it gets down to that last thing, which is reports and creations, and finally your invoicing that starts this whole process all over again, that's where a lot of this comes into play, and you manage all of that. So that's why here at American Business Systems, we want to certify you as a certified medical revenue manager. Goes right along with the lines of revenue cycle management, because that's what you are as being here. Okay, so Adam is asking, is being a nurse a plus in these procedures, or prior medical knowledge is not required? I will tell you, Adam, we've had everybody that have come into this organization owning their own medical billing business opportunity through ABS that have had a lot of extensive medical billing background. We've had people that have owned their own medical billing company come to American Business Systems for additional support. Then, on the other hand, we've had people who have had zero experience anything, even in healthcare, let alone in billing. They've not known anything about what is a procedure code versus a diagnosis code. We take you soup to nuts as training. So if you are a nurse and you've got some background in that, obviously it's going to give you a little bit of a head start. But even if you go back and listen to some of those folks that we've interviewed in the past, that have had some healthcare background, but they've not had billing background or procedure backgrounds or diagnosis backgrounds. They've just been in healthcare because they may have, there's so many different avenues of healthcare that somebody could be in. That, for instance, somebody that if you're a nurse, you may be familiar with this. Let's just take somebody that's been in case management. That just means that you're working patients and you're helping patients make sure that maybe they're discharging from a hospital, or a case manager from a home health agency or anything like that. Most of those folks have never had any background in revenue cycle management, but they do have some background in healthcare. So if you've got some healthcare background, that's always can be a little bit of an advantage for yourself. Now, let me get into some medical billing basics. There is a difference between a medical coder and a medical biller, as you can see here. A medical coder will basically turn doctors' notes, their raw data, their raw notes, into what's called numerical medical codes, or alpha numerical codes, as they are now. Now, a medical biller basically takes those alpha numerical codes and puts them into a billing payment system for payment. Now, let me get a little bit technical here for you. Basically, medical coding is just turning words into numbers so that insurance companies will pay a claim to the physician. Those codes are broken down into two types of codes. Okay, so this is the biggest rock that you'll have to worry about. There are two types of codes that you will need to process a medical claim. Okay. The first one is called a diagnosis code. This is basically the medical condition of the patient. Do they have a cough? Do they have high blood pressure? Do they have an ingrown toenail? Whatever it may be, that is a diagnosis code. That's what's wrong with the patient. Some code as a R096 or something like that could be a diagnosis code. All right. The next code that's needed is what's called the procedure code. Now, basically, this is what the physician has done for the patient. This is the code that says I examined the patient for 15 minutes or 20 minutes. There could be a procedure code for an injection. There could be a procedure code for an EKG. You know, those are what's known as procedure codes, and those are what's the reimbursable amounts that get back to the doctor. So the more procedures that the doctor will list based upon the diagnosis of the patient, that's how an insurance company will go, okay, here's the diagnosis code. This is nothing you have to worry about. Here's the diagnosis code. You know, these are the things that are wrong with the patient. These are the procedures that the doctor said that they did for the patient. And those match enough to say, okay, we're going to reimburse the doctor $120 for this visit. Okay. Now, if it's a very complicated diagnosis, let's say a cardiologist, say like you are billing for a cardiologist, and that patient comes in, they have high blood pressure, they're overweight, so there's some obesity going on, they're borderline, chronic heart failure. There's a lot of things that are complicated for a diagnosis, and then the doctor does maybe some testing there at the doctor's office. Maybe there is obviously a blood pressure is taken. Maybe there's an EKG that happens there. Maybe there's some other things that happens there at the doctor's office that's considered a procedure code, and then that might be reimbursable for $275. Okay. The great news, here's the great news for everybody that's on the webinar today. It is the doctor's responsibility to provide the medical codes to the billing company. Okay, let me repeat that. It's the doctor's responsibility to provide the medical codes to the billing company. That's what they're doing with their internal medical biller. Their medical biller is not a coder. So understand that if you're thinking about getting involved here, let's kind of put the myth to rest that you have to know coding in order to do medical billing. Okay, so let's take that off the table. Now, let's say that you do end up getting a doctor that needs a coder. The great thing about it is that we've already got that covered through CodeWrite. That's one of the services. That's one of the multiple services that we have here at American Business Systems that can fill any gaps if you need a coder, because we have certified professional coders that are already ready to work with you and to provide those services. Now, the great thing about it is that's an upcharge to the doctor. So if the doctor says, you know what, hey, Labrina, I need for you to do some coding for me. Okay, that's fine. It's going to cost you a little more because that's an extra charge that we charge for. If I've got to use my certified professional coders, there's going to be an upcharge to that. Okay, so this is no money that's coming out of your pocket. The good thing about it is that these coders are coming basically, if you think about it, to you as a wholesale coder for you to retail that back to the doctor, giving you an opportunity to make a little bit more money as you're going along with that. So, any questions about coding versus medical billing? Now's a great time for you to ask that question. If not, I'm going to tell you that here, everything that you're going to learn, ABS is here to train you on, whether it's the coding aspect of how to work with our professional coders, utilizing CodeWrite, utilizing Audit Guard. There's some doctors that might even be going under a medical audit. Great thing about it is you can provide that service to the doctors without having to go outside, quote unquote, of your organization, because through Audit Guard, we can actually do some coding for you for those doctors for those audits. Okay. Now, let me give you what you're going to learn here during training. The training is going to include 10 modules here. The first module, and each of these modules are going to last anywhere from, I'd say, from 60 to 90 minutes each. Okay, so you're going to go through an introduction of who we are, what you are. You're going to go through what's called the practice workflow, and then an introduction to medical billing. That's going to be a detailed, probably almost a a an entire 2-hour course there. So I would reserve on your first training with American Business Systems to be working with your trainer for at least an hour and a half, maybe to 2 hours. Now, let me talk to you. Obviously, I'm not going to go through each individual model. I don't have time to go through all of those. I'm going to just touch on a few things here today. But let me share with you, we use obviously Zoom meetings or Zoom webinars to conduct our training. The only difference between what you're experiencing now versus whenever you're an ABS business owner and you're working with the trainer is that you're going to have your video available, and you will also have your opportunity to visit and have that engagement. So you're going to be engaging directly with one of our trainers here. Now, let me tell you how we qualify one of our trainers. Our trainers have had to at least been in business at least a year, maybe even a year and a half, as an ABS business owner who is already doing medical billing, who has already gotten their first few clients. And typically, most of our trainers have over 10 years of experience with us here at American Business Systems. We have a couple of them. We actually have one that's been here with us over 15 years. So, folks, you're getting experienced people who are going to teach you and train you over every one of these modules, because as you can see, everything to the left, modules 1 through 5, have to deal with all the different services and how they interact with one another and connect one another to get you to working this right side, which is now the introduction to marketing, warm marketing, and how to actually get that first proposal out the door. So you're going to have a lot of homework. Now, this training should take you a little over 2 weeks to complete this training. Now, this is very important as I get to the end, and I'll explain that to you as we get to that. If you want to, you can actually get a hold of your sales rep here. We actually have an in-depth certified medical revenue management training outline and agenda that your sales rep can maybe be able to go through you with. But I'm actually going to do that right now, and I'm going to try to cover that within the next 30 minutes here. So hang on tight as we go through this. The first thing you're going to learn through this is you're going to learn a comprehensive business setup. Some of you may come to us already having some healthcare background, but you've never set up a business. Well, we're going to provide you a complete guidance on training and setting up your medical billing entity. We're going to teach you the difference between the business structures. This is everything. Do I need to start as a corporation? Does it need to be an LLC? Does it need to be a partnership? Does it need to be a sole proprietor? You can select any of those. We're going to kind of help guide you through that. We're going to help you virtually set up your company with a business address and phone system. We're going to teach you everything how to do that. We're going to even give you some recommended options for cost-effective logo design. Now, I'm going to tell you, folks, the invention or the explosion, should I say, of artificial intelligence is making logo design and actually professional website look even amazing. However, with your investment here with American Business Systems, not only are you getting that full comprehensive training, you are also going to get you can choose which template of a website that you would like to choose from, and the colors and the designs of everything that goes along with that. And then we're actually going to help you understand how to cultivate your marketing relationships through a CRM. We've got some very specific ways to do that through Zoho. I just found out from Adam not too long ago that you're actually going to get an account set up through Zoho through our support system that's actually comes with our package now. Even if you're worried or concerned about accounting softwares, we're going to show you at least which ones to kind of get started with. So kind of remembering there's that in-depth certified medical revenue management training outline and agenda, this is the first thing that you're going to learn here of how to get your business set up. Shweta is asking, can this business be structured as an E2 business visa? All right, so now, because you must be out of the country, so I'm going to recommend that you get back with your sales rep on how we work with folks that are international, okay? There are some things that we can help out with. And so if you'll get back with your sales rep and say, hey, Eric mentioned to me to kind of consult with you on, I'm out of the country. How does all that work? There are some special things that we've been able to do in the past. All right. Very good. Let's keep moving on here. This is one of the most in-depth webinars that we ever do, because we don't want you walking away even from getting started here without a good knowledge of what you're getting here at training. Now, the next thing you're going to get is a very deep medical industry knowledge practice involved in our training. We're going to explain all the medical workflows, key personnel in the medical practice. We're going to try to start helping you understand what are the challenges that happen in doctor's office and how to specifically get those things fixed. The other thing is, as we are moving from one year to the next, folks, we are weeks away of doctor's offices all over the country. And that is your scope of territory. You may be located in Dallas, but your first client doesn't have to be in Texas. It could be in Oklahoma, as far as we care, because Medicare and all the insurance companies bill. There's nothing specific to your state. So, it's kind of a reference. My first client was actually in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm here in Texas, so territories don't match. But I will tell you that something's about to happen immediately come 2026. So if you're thinking about getting started, now's a perfect time to get started, because every single doctor's office needs to go and re-up their training in HIPAA compliancy. This is a game changer for anybody that's looking to get started right now. If you're looking to get your foot in the door, this is one of the best ways. We've got Compliancy Guard that can help you get your door, basically kick the door open into many practices right now, because practices are going to be scrambling of making sure that they get their HIPAA compliancy going. Provide in this in-depth model that we're teaching you, we're going to provide a very true understanding of the revenue cycle, as I've already kind of detailed to you already, and teach you solutions on the accounts receivable problems that plague most practices. So that's what you're going to learn in one of those first modules. Now, moving on to the practical technical training, we're going to explain to you insurance claims, the challenges and the solutions. What does an insurance claim look like? I've already mentioned to you earlier that an insurance claim is going to be filed on what's called a CMS 1500, which means you can provide any services to any doctors that are billing on what's known as a CMS 1500 form. That's everything from a cardiologist to a kinesiologist to a podiatrist to a chiropractor to even massage therapies, mental health consultants, social workers. They all bill on a CMS 1500. And every aspect of what I've just shared with you, every one of our business owners are billing for one or two or more of those types of businesses. So we're going to explain to you a very in-depth of how that goes and the challenges and the solutions with that. We're going to compare outsourcing so that you know the value of outsourcing and the disadvantages of actually what happens with in-house billing, and we're going to explain to you those major differences. Your training is going to be on a practice management system. Ours is particularly what's known as iClaim. iClaim is what's known as a practice management system. Now, you may run into a doctor that already has their own practice management system and they're not ready to change yet. And we're going to actually coach you through that process of starting at least maybe with their practice management system but eventually moving those doctors to the iClaim system. We're going to show you about the coverages of insurance eligibility verification. How about checking and making sure that that patient actually has insurance before you actually bill for that claim? Many claims get denied simply because somebody in that doctor's office and that medical billing person or company is not verifying eligibility before processing those claims. And guess what happens? That doctor sees a patient, you go to bill that claim just to end up on the back end to find out that they're not eligible anymore. And I tell you, a lot of that's happening between now and the end of this year, going into next year. And guess what? Every single patient has to get re-verified to make sure that they're eligible for benefits with their insurance company. Because a lot of things change at the end of the year. You know, people are in their new enrollment part of insurance and going from one insurance company to another insurance company. Okay. And then we're going to teach you how to make sure appointment reminders are set properly, implementation, the coordination of care between you and that doctor's office. Ian's asking, how about credentialing? Are there resources available for that? We do have a service called Credentialing Now, and that's a whole process that we can help you absolutely help doctors with their credentialing, especially if they're getting some. You're going to find some doctors who are regular MDs and they're bringing on a new nurse practitioner. Well, they need to get that nurse practitioner credentialed. Maybe they don't have a credentialing agency that does that. You can provide that for them. All right, diverse revenue streams. We're going to teach the doctor how to look for other different ways of expanding and how you can expand. Gosh, several years back, people asked, hey, can I do dental billing? Because dental billing is separate from that CMS 1500 billing. You can't use the iClaim platform to do dental billing. So we've got that. We are going to show you how you can use virtual care. Now, this became very strong during the COVID pandemic years, and doctors needed a way to see and manage their patients, their blood pressure, their weights, their glucose monitoring, all through all these CGMs now that are out there. Everything is remote monitoring now, whether it's blood pressure, glucose monitoring, weight, even temperature, pulse oxidation, and pulse. All of that is remote patient monitoring. We actually have a module for doctors if they're not currently already doing that. We can show the doctor how to make another additional $20,000 to $30,000 a year of virtual care visits. This is unbelievable. There's not another medical billing business opportunity that has the connections that we have when it comes to virtual care. We're going to teach you how to do the patient monitoring services. Obviously, doctors have old money they need to collect. So through Quick Collect or accounts receivables, that we're going to teach you how to do that. CodeWrite, Audit Guard, I've already mentioned to you earlier, but here are all these different services. For each of the services that I've already mentioned, these are obviously different revenue streams for the doctor and for you, okay? So just remember that as you're going through all of this and you're kind of being coached through your sales rep here, you can ask them about virtual care, kind of do a little bit deeper dive on that. And then what is Quick Collect and Choice Pay, and how does that help doctors collect old money? Audit Guard and CodeWrite are all, again, coding. Okay, Adam is asking, is there any reason where I have to go in person to a doctor's clinic, or is it all remotely? Most of it's all remotely, Adam. Now, last week I did a little bit on, let's see, where did I leave off last week? We did a more of a kind of a Q&A last week. It was on Thanksgiving Day. I mentioned a little bit about the importance of getting your clients, and a lot of times now you can do a lot of virtual meetings. A lot of virtual meetings happen through Zoom meetings. If you use in Microsoft Teams, there's a lot of healthcare industries that uses Microsoft Teams. So, You don't always have to go to a doctor's office to talk with them, but I would recommend ways to make sure that I'm engaging with these doctors remotely, as best and frequently, because again, they want to know that you're taking care of their business. Okay, most of all of our business owners, I'd probably say 85 to 95% of them, when they're doing billing for a doctor, it's not even in their own hometown, because they found through some of their networking organizations that they're a part of that there may be a doctor across town, but that doctor knew somebody else who says, hey, my buddy just moved from here and now they're in, Timbuktu, somewhere in the United States. And I know that they need help, and you can do all of that remotely. All right, it's compliance expertise. We're going to explain Medicare audit preparations and defense through, again, this is a perfect time to talk about this. What does HIPAA cover? And what are some of the pitfalls that doctors' offices find themselves in whenever they are in a possibly HIPAA audit? What happens if they don't have everybody's passwords up to date, and they just lost an individual, and now they have old access to places in their practice management systems or EMR systems? Gosh, there's a lot of things that go on with that. I tell you, one of the worst things that doctors don't even think about and recognize is the smartphone issues behind that area, what we call behind the glass. Whenever you go to the doctor's office, that sliding window and everything else seems to be back behind there and it's supposed to be secured. How non-secure that really is whenever, obviously with the invention of smartphones. People are on Facebook all the time. People leave files out, folders out, charts out are available. Sometimes you walk into a room and somebody else's charts up, and you walk in and you find out it's your neighbor, and you find out that they've got some of this terrible disease. And so HIPAA compliance is a big thing. And again, now is a perfect time to be able to check. Let me give you a quick secret here. And this kind of goes along with what Adam's talking about. Do I have to physically go to a doctor's office? I liked going to physical doctor's offices at times when I was doing a little bit of marketing. And many times I'd walk into the doctor's office and say, hi, my name is Eric, and I'd like to speak to your HIPAA compliancy officer. Listen, every single time I got an audience with somebody. Most of the times it was with the office manager. And I'd say, hey, my name is Eric. I'm with this so-and-so company. And I'm going to be doing a quick presentation now that it's the first part of the year on all the new HIPAA rules and regulations that you're faced with in 2026. I'd like to invite you, maybe the doctor, to join me on a live free webinar. Okay? I got so many people signed up for that. They would all jump on that. Well, what does that do? That helps me engage with them remotely, but it also helps me build a lot of credibility. Now, you may think, I don't know, I'll be brand new at this. I don't know anything. That's great, because we have a slide presentation that can help you along with that. If you're anything like me, I'm a big ham. I love to be in front of people. Doing webinars is something I kind of do second nature. But you might say, well, Eric, I'm not there yet. That's okay. We're going to help you make sure that you get those types of opportunities. Now, let's move to a little bit now towards the marketing. What about marketing and patient retention? One of the services that we have is called Audit Card. Auto Card. Some of these get a little mixed up here, but Auto Card is actually a patient retention and referral process. Now, it can be a referral process for you. It could be a patient retention for the doctors. These are actually postcards that get mailed out on a like a drip campaign that will help the doctors remind their patients of annual wellness visits that are coming up. Now that's about to come up. It could be talking about their deductibles that they're dealing with, annual mammograms, any other type of annual visits that need to happen. Could just be birthday cards that go out. Obviously, through Auto Card, you can help that doctor get set up. All right, Tammy's asking, is there any additional training required if the medical services are pain management, hospice care, rehabilitation services, FQHCs? If yes, can ABS provide the training needed and support for additional practice management systems? Yes. The answer is to yes on all of those. I've worked with pain management systems. I've worked with some hospice care systems, some rehab centers, FQHCs. There's our support team here at ABS can help you navigate through all of that. All right. This includes credentials now. I think someone's asked earlier about credentialing. Yes, we help that as a marketing tool for yourself. We're going to teach you how to online review management systems for practice, for medical practices. We're going to, we actually have some what's called Doctable. This is an information system for patient engagement for these doctors, and it includes the cost reduction services training. So some of the services here that kind of highlight what we just talked about there is AutoCard and Credentials Now. All right. The business development strategies. Now, this is where this comes to you. This is where, hey, we've got to make sure that you get a doctor. All that sounds good. We can teach you. We can train you. We can, help you understand all the code processes and processing claims and claims management and all the different services that you can get to. But now, let's get you a doctor. So if you remember, there were two columns there. There were modules 1 through 5 and then 6 through 10. Well, 6 through 10 is everything that I'm kind of showing you right now of, how to get that first doctor, how to get engaged with these doctors. Then when you've got engaged with these doctors and you've got an actual audience with a doctor, how to go through a practice analysis questionnaire. I liked always, whenever I was out doing a little bit of one-on-one marketing, and I was out there reminding doctors, hey, it's the new part of the year. Have you got everybody HIPAA compliance renewed? Did you get them through some training? And oh, by the way, if you need some help, I can actually do a practice analysis on some of the other areas of your practice I might be able to help you on. And you are going to be leading out as the expert. And one of the ways that we help develop that credibility for you is one of the marketing pieces that you're going to be getting with us through here, besides all the flyers that I've shown you already, is that you get to participate in the authorization of a book called The New Thriving Medical Practice. And what I mean that you get to be a part of that is that we've got all of these are print on demands. I mean, these are real books here. These are not e-books or online books or Kindle type books. These are actually physical books that we're going to have you as the author of the foreword to the book. We have a foreword template that you can customize yourself to be more like you, sound more like you. You'll be able to put that on there. Then we're going to show you how to lead generate. We've got very specific new ways of working with what we call low-hanging fruit type providers out there. And I've already mentioned a couple of those for you already. Social workers, folks that are working in the mental health industry. They do a lot of engagement. They see a lot of their patients remotely, but they need, obviously they need billing. And so chiropractors are another one of those. The massage therapists, medical massage therapy is big in this area where we can kind of help you. But we're going to show you how to move from not having a client to getting a client. And we're going to stay with you until that happens. That's our goal, and that's our commitment to you. We want to help you get that first client acquisition. So we're going to teach you it in the meantime. There may be some sales reps that you can help recruit and put on your team and have them help funnel some of the leads to you. We're going to show you how to pay those folks in a compensation structure. Provide templates, how to use classified ads to find staff as your team does grow. Cover lead management and follow-up systems. Remember, I told you now that we have a CRM that we're actually going to provide for you to help you get to where you need to be. And then lastly, once you've got that doctor and you've got that doctor signed, now we got to get you client onboarding. We're going to handhold you, as you can see here, through the entire process. And these are all the the modules that you're going to be going through in a little over a 2-week period. You can see that, man, I haven't stopped talking for nearly 50 minutes here, and I'm just about to wrap up here as we're going through this. But you're going to learn everything about client onboarding and implementation. What do you do with a doctor that already has a practice management system? They may not be ready to move to iClaim just yet. We're going to show you how to work with those, strategize with them, make sure that their pricing is where they need to be for yourself. Are you charging enough? We don't want you to leave any money on the table, but neither do we want you to put out there that you're charging too much. We're going to show you how to do that. And then lastly, ongoing support. Every month, sometimes 2 or 3 times a month, we are continually engaging with our business owners in some type of online webinar or services. Matter of fact, I just got word today that there is a brand new support online support site that is coming out, and it'll be ready here shortly, right after the first of the year. But currently, right now, we have what's called our licensee support site that is chock full of information. But this newer model that's just rolling out has a complete knowledge base, which kind of leads you from one question to the next. You can ask it questions. It's very interactive. It's almost like dealing with a live human being through this engagement of this knowledge-based website. Now, it doesn't take away from true human beings that will help you here. So we are here constantly, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, every single day, to kind of help coach you along in any spot here. So folks, as we wrap up here, I want to finish out. Hopefully, you felt like you probably drank from a fire hydrant here this afternoon on learning why we feel why ABS training program is better than others. But before I leave you here and kind of help you along, I want to give you a couple of frequently asked questions as we had in the past. So the first one is how long do I have access to the course? Well, you basically have a lifetime of access to the course. Let's say that you go through that entire 2 weeks. The great thing about it, every module that is there is actually on our licensee support site in a recorded version. Now, that doesn't mean that you can never have engagement with a live support person. Let's say that you really just need some additional training on the techniques of doing some networking out there, or you need some additional training on iClaim implementation, or whatever it might be. We will take you through that. But your training is basically a lifetime, because as I'd already mentioned, 2 or 3 times a month, we're actually engaging with our business owners in some type of additional training. When does the course start and when does it finish? The course starts now, and folks, it never really ends. This is really more of a self-paced online type of course. Now, even though it's self-paced with a live trainer. This is not recorded versions of this. These are live ongoing trainings. So you decide when you want to start and when you want to finish. And then lastly, what happens if I'm unhappy with the course? We are the only organization that I know in the United States, and like I said, I've been with this organization now for a little over 17 years, going on to 18 years this next year. I've never heard of a business opportunity or a franchise out there willing to give you a 30-day money-back guarantee. All right, so you did hear me right. So once you've made your investment here at American Business Systems, and the day that 30-day starts is the first day of your training. So we don't kind of nickel and dime you and go, oh, well, we can't get you your training until day 15, and now you only have 15 days. We start at the day of your training, because we know that you're engaging with us on these webinars. You're engaging with a sales rep here. And what we want to also is engage you on the live training. And that's why I've spent so much time today on trying to give you every nuts and bolts as I can to help you understand the depth of what you're getting here. And again, why we feel like the ABS training program is better than others. So what can be made it better? than to give you a 30-day money back guarantee. If you're not satisfied with the training, you're not satisfied with it, you don't think this is something you can do, whatever it might be, no questions asked, we'll refund you that money. All right, Adam has one last question. Usually, how many employee businesses owners have to hire? Oh, that's a great question. You will know that you will need to hire somebody probably after the third doctor that you bring on. Now, what's great about that is, Adam, depending upon what type of doctors you're doing billing for, two doctors may be enough for you to do this full time and not have to hire anybody. Typically, I'll tell you this, that one doctor takes roughly two, maybe at the most 2.5 hours to do all of their billing. Now, the billing part of it, because remember, doctors are seeing anywhere from an average of 30 patients a day. To process 30 claims, it's going to take you 2 to 3 minutes per claim. So a little over an hour to process 30 claims, okay? That's putting the diagnosis code in, the procedure code, making sure everything's processed properly, hitting submit, seeing the submission go through, getting through Medicare, United Healthcare, whatever it may be, seeing that process go through. So let's just say a couple of minutes per claim. But then once you've got those claims, there's going to be eventually the management part of that where the doctors are actually getting paid, and you need to do AR accountability and make sure all that gets done and posting those payments properly. So there's going to be additional. So there's where that second hour comes in. So you might have 2 hours per doctor. So if you kind of do the rule of thumb, 2 hours per doctor, if you're doing billing for two doctors, it's about 4 hours, maybe 5 hours in a day. If you get to 3, now you're up to basically about a full-time job, and you may want to grow your business. It may be at that point where you start to balance out and go, okay, I'm really ready to venture out there. There are some out there that, gosh, have several employees that do it, and all of them are remote. You don't even have to have them in their own state. So hopefully that kind of helped answer that question.